Hi, I'm Lynn. I'm the owner of Matcha Money, and welcome to my channel. I use the cash envelope method to manage my finances as well as maintain a healthy relationship with money. And in this video, I wanted to showcase my new binder setup and give a little background of how I got started with cash stuffing, how my experience has been throughout, and how I got to developing my binder system. Here I have some brand new envelopes I made that I'll be using for my new setup, so let's get into it. Starting off, I want to introduce my main binder categories, which act as umbrella categories for my sinking funds. Aside from my bills and weekly expenses binders, I have a binder for my primary sinking funds, one for special occasions, one for my family, and one for myself as well. I designated a specific envelope design for each binder category as well as each person, and most of these designs are actually available in my online shop or will be available because it's currently under construction right now, but it will be reopening on the 16th of this month. So, a little bit about my experience with cash stuffing. I've been using this method for a few years now, a little shortly after the pandemic started. After about 2 years, I decided to start a TikTok that had helped me to stay consistent. And since I was getting a lot of questions about how to do this and that and where I got my supplies, I started my online shop, Matcha Money, and now I'm migrating to YouTube to get more in depth with the details of my process. I was able to stay consistent up until last year. I gave birth to my first child and I took my maternity leave. Unfortunately, I had a difficult time returning to work, so I ended up taking a much longer time than anticipated and planned for. So, we used up a good chunk of our emergency fund and sinking funds just to keep up with our bills. So, now I'm getting back into it with a modified system, which we're about to go into. So this is the first binder that I have. This is my weekly expenses binder. It's an A7 or pocket size, so it's easy for me to take on the go. Now going through the categories, we have groceries, gas, eating out, snacks, coffee, boba, errands, activity, and miscellaneous. So briefly going over some of these envelopes. The ones with the lowercase fonts actually don't get stuffed every time that we do a stuffing. So these are the examples that we occasionally stuff when we have the money to. So these don't actually get stuffed every paycheck. The errands envelope, this one's actually specifically for pulling out funds from another binder to take with me on an errand. So that money will actually go into this envelope whenever I go out. And then the same thing for the activity envelope. And this miscellaneous envelope acts as sort of a cash buffer for this entire wallet. And that is everything that goes into my weekly expenses binder. Moving on to my bills binder, this actually includes annual bills, monthly bills, as well as debt payments and subscriptions. So, first we have rent, utilities, Wi Fi, car insurance, credit, which is for debt payments, student loans as well. Payment plan is for anything that we purchase on a payment plan. So, for example, we purchased a couch on a payment plan that is actually completed. So, we'll be using this now for my hospital bills from when I delivered my baby. Next, we have renter's insurance, car registration, American Express as opposed to the credit one. This envelope is for the annual fee for the credit card. Then we have Costco membership and any subscriptions that we have for the month. And then in the back are two envelopes that I actually don't use anymore. This one is Pay in 4 for those installment apps where you can split a payment into 4 different payments. I don't actually use this one anymore, but it's in the back just in case. And then same thing for our car note. I keep it in the back just in case we need to use it again for when we purchase our next car. So those are all the envelopes in my bills binder. Okay, so now moving on to our sinking funds, we're going to start with the primary sinking funds. I used this descriptive format to clarify what each category entails so that my partner can also reference these as well. So the first category I have here is household, which includes cleaning, laundry, and kitchen supplies. So, for example, funds for laundry detergent pods, things like that would come from here. So, next is toiletries, which includes hygienic, dental, and feminine supplies. These are pretty self explanatory with a description. Next is home, which includes plants, decor, organization, furniture, and appliances. So, this is actually how I got to creating such an extensive envelope system. These past two envelopes, the household and toiletries, actually would fall under home as well. I decided to split them up and create separate envelopes for each of them when I realized that I was using funds that I wanted to save for like organization or furniture for spending on toiletries and household items, which are spent on more often. So I was barely saving anything for making my home a home. So that is why I separated them into three different envelopes. And this is the reason why I have a lot of specific envelopes or separate envelopes that could be combined across my binder system. This is what I found to help me save for the things that I want to save for while still being able to spend on the things that are necessary. So these next two envelope categories are what I consider home projects. This first one is the coffee bar. I've been wanting to create a coffee bar in my home, and what that would entail is an espresso machine, tools, cups, mugs, organizers, beans, pods, teas, and syrups. Next is the Montessori room. So, as I've said before, I gave birth to my first child last year, and I've been interested in the Montessori learning method and incorporating that into his lifestyle. So, in the description is not necessarily everything I intend on purchasing, but just stuff to consider purchasing for the Montessori room. So, it says toddler kitchen, kids table, wardrobe, one that he can reach, a bookshelf, play gym, and modular couch. All right, next we have car maintenance, which includes repairs, oil changes, and cleaning services as well. Next is travel. This one is specifically for gear, passports, pre travel necessities, and obligatory family visits. So, same thing with as I explained before with the home envelope, I separated travel and vacation because what was happening was I would use my vacation funds to visit my family for the holidays. And then I realized I wasn't actually saving for a vacation for myself. So, yeah, and then I also used this envelope to purchase some new luggage recently. So, that is what that envelope is for. Next, we have moving. This is for like apartment rental, moving expenses. And then emergency fund, which everyone should have. Obviously, this is for unexpected expenses, unique circumstances, just like when I took my maternity leave and couldn't return to work when I wanted to. This obviously has to get stuffed heavily once again. Next, we have health, which is for vitamins, supplements, and first aid kit supplies. Then we have a separate one for medical. This one is for the doctor visit copays, lab work, and prescriptions. And then for mental health, this will fund therapy, prescriptions for mental health, and next is dental for those dental visits and braces as well. And then vision for eye exams, eyeglasses, and contact lenses as well. So that is everything in my primary sinking funds binder. These are the four binder colors that I will be using in my system. And we are going to go with onyx, which is the black color for my primary sinking funds. I chose the onyx color because it's a very good go-to color and it looks great with this format of envelopes. This is how it looks inside. All right, so the next binder category I have is special occasions. This would include any special trips, activities, and the holidays that we celebrate. So the first envelope I have here is vacation, and this one is intended for international or just any longer trip. Then we have one for weekend trips because we like to take road trips to nearby areas outside our city. So any of our trips that are around 2 to 4 days, this would be the envelope to fund it. Next is date night. Actually chose watercolor graphics that I thought best resembled what each category meant to me. So this one has an espresso martini and a full moon. Next is family night. This one is probably one of my favorites. So here I have graphics of everything that I thought represented family night for me. So I have a dice and cards to represent games, some watercolor and paintbrushes to represent paint night, and some popcorn and a film strip to represent movie night. Then I have dinner hosting. My partner and I don't exactly host dinners a lot, but it's something that we want to get into. So this is just a small fun to kind of keep that in mind. And then we have one envelope for birthdays, gifts, Disney, because we love going to Disneyland. And then we have an envelope for wedding, and this is just to get something started, not necessarily because we're saving for a wedding right now. So this is just to get a head start. And then we have one for baby as well. And I just had my first baby, so I'm not planning on having another baby anytime soon. But I did do this with my first child, just to have some kind of fun to get started so that we're not scrambling to save when it's time to actually start saving. Okay, so next are the holidays that we celebrate. I made these envelopes also with watercolor graphics as well as a metallic gold vinyl. So first we have New Year, and then next we have Lunar New Year, and this one is probably my favorite envelope of all of the envelopes that I have. I just love how the gold vinyl lays on top of the red watercolor design. And then we have Valentine's Day. Here is the Mother's Day one. And here is Father's Day. And then we have Halloween. And then we have Christmas. And that is everything in the special occasions binder. For this one, we are going to go with the oat color, which is a beige. And that is how it looks inside. So the next binder is going to hold personal sinking funds for each of my family members. Starting off with my babies, we have an envelope for formula, hygiene, books and toys, clothing, health, and birthday. And I do want to mention that I do have these envelopes in my special occasions binder, but I decided to give him his own as well as a savings envelope because I just didn't want to do a combined fund and pull from what we potentially could use for his. So he has his own. So that was my baby's envelopes. Next, I have my dog's envelopes. For him, we have food, toys and treats, grooming, vet visits, and miscellaneous. And I had more envelopes for him, but I simplified them to just 5 because I thought it was a little bit too much. And then next is my partner's, and he has hair, clothing, gaming, tattoos, collector's items, and investments. So all 3 of my family members actually get one binder. They clearly don't shop as much as I do, so they will all fit in one binder. And we are going to go with the matcha color. I typically would choose green for myself because green is my favorite color, but you'll see why I ended up choosing blue for myself. Last is my envelope categories. I actually went with a holographic design on these. These are the first that I've tried with this, and I actually ended up loving how they turned out. And I have to mention that all of these categories are very much wants, not needs. With my old system, I would actually barely stuff my own binder. I would say on average, I probably received around $20 to $40 at a time. So yeah, again, I have a lot of categories, but not all of them do get stuffed every time I do a cash stuffing. If there's something that you want to save for, you can create a category for it without the pressure to stuff it every time. You can stuff as low as a single dollar or $2, $5, which is typically what I do with my own categories. And it will slowly build over time. So, onto my categories. First, we have self care rituals. This is literally just for self care. It can be a fund for something as little as candles. Next, we have crystals. I am a crystal collector, as you can see here. I've actually been trying to slow down building my crystal collection at the moment, so this one probably won't get stuffed too often. Next, I have tarot, which is for like tarot and oracle decks. I am not a tarot reader. I don't do tarot readings for other people but myself. But really, it's for meditative practice. I've seen a lot of decks with some beautiful artwork that I love to keep in my space, use it as inspiration or motivation. It's a fun hobby for me, enough for me to create an envelope for it. Next, we have tattoos. Then we have fitness, nails. Next, we have hair care, and then lashes. Next is clothing. Then we have stationery. I actually love journaling and I've been getting back into scrapbooking. I'm also a huge cloth and paper fan, so I'm hoping to stuff this pretty often. Then we have small business markets. So this is for any local vendor markets. My partner and I love to stroll small business markets, so I will be slowly building a fund for that. Next, I have skincare. Next is books. Next, I have games. Next is electronics, which is more so for like the more expensive devices, like a new iPad, a new laptop or computer, things like that. And then I have wish list, which is for like any miscellaneous wish list item that doesn't actually fall into any of the previous categories. So, for example, there's actually a budget binder I wanted to purchase from another shop. So, that kind of fund would go into here. And now we are putting them into my binder. This color is Glacier. It's an icy pale blue. And it looks so good with the holographic design. Again, green is my favorite color, but I just couldn't pass on this combination. So those are all of my binders and envelopes in my setup. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I know it was probably quite extensive. I'm hoping I gave a little bit of inspiration to anyone that was needing it. If you would like to see my cash stuffing process, or if you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments and stay tuned for upcoming videos. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.